I was hired as a nanny for 2 children in the Hamptons. Beautiful family, perfect house, dream job. But on my third night there, I heard crying coming from the attic. A child's crying. And when I finally found out who was up there and why this family had been hiding them from the world, I realized I'd walked into something I was never supposed to see. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. My name is Mia Sullivan, and I need to tell you about the summer I worked for a family that wasn't what they seemed. I mean, honestly, when I first got the job, I thought I'd won the lottery. Dream family, dream location, dream salary. But some dreams turn into nightmares when you look too closely. And I looked too closely. I was 26 years old, fresh out of a bad breakup, living in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn with 2 roommates I barely knew. I'd been nannying for 3 years. Good families, nothing crazy, just trying to make rent while I figured out what I actually wanted to do with my life. Then I saw the posting on a nanny agency website. Summer nanny needed for family in Southampton, 2 children, ages 6 and 8. Live-in position, competitive salary, beautiful home, start immediately. The salary they listed made my jaw drop. $12,000 for 3 months of work. That's more than I usually made in 6 months. I applied immediately, not really expecting to hear back. Families offering that kind of money usually wanted someone with fancy credentials, early childhood education degrees, years of experience with elite families. I had neither. But 2 days later, I got a call. Mia, this is Jennifer Whitmore. I'm calling about the nanny position. Her voice was smooth, polished, the kind of voice that comes from private schools and country clubs. Oh, yes, hi. Thank you for calling. I've reviewed your application. Your references are excellent. I'd love to set up an interview. Are you available tomorrow? Tomorrow? That was fast. Yes, absolutely. Wonderful. Can you come to our home in Southampton? Say, 2 p.m. Southampton, the Hamptons, over 2 hours from Brooklyn. I'll be there. She gave me the address and hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, heart pounding. This was happening. This was actually happening. The house was insane. I mean, I'd nannied for wealthy families before, but this was a different level. The driveway was longer than my entire street in Brooklyn. The house itself looked like something out of a magazine. Modern, glass and white stone, perfectly manicured gardens, ocean views. I parked my beat-up Honda next to a Range Rover and a Tesla and felt completely out of place. A woman answered the door before I even knocked. Jennifer Whitmore, mid-40s, blonde, thin in that way that takes serious money and serious discipline. She was wearing white linen pants and a silk blouse. Barefoot, effortlessly elegant. Mia, come in, come in. The inside of the house was even more stunning. High ceilings, minimalist furniture, art on the walls that probably cost more than my car. Let me give you the tour, Jennifer said. She showed me the main floor, living room, dining room. The kitchen looked like it belonged in a restaurant. The children's rooms are upstairs, she said, leading me up a floating staircase. This is Chloe's room. Pink walls, canopy bed, more toys than any child could ever need. And this is Noah's room. Blue walls, bookshelves, a desk with a computer. They're at camp today, Jennifer explained. But you'll meet them if we hire you. They seem wonderful, I said, even though I hadn't met them. They are. We're very lucky. Jennifer smiled, but something about it felt rehearsed. Let me show you where you'd be staying. She led me back downstairs and through the kitchen to a separate wing of the house. This is the guest house, technically, but we use it for staff. You'd have complete privacy. Bedroom, bathroom, small living area. Does that work? It's perfect. More than perfect. It was nicer than any apartment I'd ever lived in. Jennifer's smile widened. Excellent. So let me tell you about the position. The children need supervision from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Sundays off, Meals, activities, bedtime routines, standard nanny duties. That sounds manageable. Good. Now, there are a few house rules I need to make clear. She said it casually, but something in her tone shifted. The third floor is off limits. It's storage, old furniture, family archives. Nothing interesting, but my husband is very particular about privacy. Of course, no problem. And we value discretion. What happens in this house stays in this house. We're a private family. We don't want our children's lives, or ours, discussed outside these walls. I understand. Wonderful. She extended her hand. Welcome to the family, Mia. Can you start Monday? I shook her hand. Absolutely. I drove back to Brooklyn feeling like I just won the lottery. $12,000, 3 months, beautiful house. What could possibly go wrong? I moved in on a Sunday. Jennifer showed me to the guest house again, helped me unpack, and made me feel welcome. The children are excited to meet you, she said. Dinner's at 6. Come join us. At 6, I walked over to the main house. The family was already seated in the dining room. Jennifer, her husband David, early 50s, silver hair, expensive suit even on a Sunday, and the children. Chloe, 8 years old, blonde like her mother, sweet smile, shy. Noah, 6 years old, dark hair like his father, curious eyes. Mia, Noah said excitedly. Are you our new nanny? I am. Cool. Do you like dinosaurs? Love them. He grinned. Chloe smiled too, less enthusiastically. Dinner was pleasant, normal. The kids asked me questions. Jennifer and David were polite, warm even. Everything seemed perfect. Too perfect, maybe. But I brushed that thought aside. I was being paranoid. The first week was great. The kids were easy. Sweet, well-behaved, fun. We'd spend mornings at the beach, afternoons reading or doing crafts, evenings watching movies before bed. Jennifer and David were barely around. They'd leave early for work, some kind of finance thing. I never got the full details. And come home late. I had free reign, complete trust. It was the easiest job I'd ever had. But there were little things that felt off, like how Jennifer always locked the door to the third floor. I'd see her going up there sometimes, always locking it behind her, or how David would get phone calls that made him leave the room immediately, his voice low and tense, or how sometimes, late at night, I'd hear footsteps above my room in the guest house. Slow, deliberate footsteps. But the house was big, old sounds, settling foundation. Right? I told myself it was nothing, just my imagination. But then I heard the crying. It was my third night. I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone, about to fall asleep. And then I heard it. Crying. A child's crying. Faint, distant, but unmistakable. I sat up listening. It was coming from above me, from the third floor. I checked the time. 11:47 p.m. Chloe and Noah were asleep in their rooms. I tucked them in hours ago. So, who was crying? I got out of bed and walked to the main house, trying to be quiet. The lights were off. Jennifer and David's bedroom door was closed. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, listening. Nothing. Maybe I'd imagined it. I went back to the guest house and tried to sleep, but I heard it again the next night. And the night after that. Always around the same time, always from the third floor. On the fourth day, I casually asked Jennifer about the third floor. Is there anything up there that needs organizing? I used to work in storage management. I could help. No. Her tone was sharp, immediate. The third floor is fine. We handle it ourselves. Oh, okay. I just thought. Mia. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I appreciate the offer, but we hired you to watch the children, not to reorganize our house. Right, of course. Sorry. She walked away. I felt like I'd been scolded. That night, I heard the crying again. Louder this time, more desperate. I couldn't ignore it anymore. On the fifth night, I made a decision. I was going to see what was on the third floor. I waited until everyone was asleep, until the house was completely dark and silent. Then I crept upstairs. The door to the third floor was locked, just like always. But I'd been a nanny long enough to know that most interior doors use the same generic key. I went back to the guest house and grabbed a butter knife from the kitchen, slid it into the lock, and turned. Click. The door opened. I stood there for a moment, my heart pounding so hard I thought Jennifer and David would hear it from their room. But the house stayed silent. I pushed the door open and climbed the stairs. The third floor was dark. I used my phone's flashlight to see. It was mostly empty, just like Jennifer had said. Old furniture covered in sheets, boxes of family photos. Nothing interesting. But then I heard it again. The crying, coming from the far end of the attic. I walked toward it, my hands shaking. And that's when I saw the door. A small door, built into the wall, barely noticeable. I opened it, and on the other side was a room, a child's room, with a bed, and toys, and books, and a little girl. She couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Dark hair, big eyes, thin, too thin. She looked up at me, terrified. "Please don't hurt me," she whispered. I stood there frozen. There was a child in the attic, a child I'd never seen before, a child Jennifer and David had hidden from me. "I'm not going to hurt you," I said softly. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Lily." "Hi, Lily, I'm Mia. Are you one of the helpers?" "Helpers?" I'm the nanny for Chloe and Noah." "Oh," she looked down. "They don't know about me." "Why not?" "Mommy says I'm special. I need to stay up here." Mommy, Jennifer. This was Jennifer's daughter. "How long have you been up here, Lily?" "I don't know. A long time." I looked around the room. It was clean but sparse. A bed with worn blankets, a few toys, books, a small bathroom in the corner. Everything she needed to survive. Nothing she needed to live. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" "I'm okay. Mommy brings me food. And Daddy reads to me sometimes." "When was the last time you went outside?" Lily thought about it. "I don't remember." Oh my God, they were keeping her locked in the attic. "Lily, why does your mommy say you need to stay up here?" "Because I'm different." "Different how?" She lifted her shirt slightly, showing me her side. There were scars. Surgical scars. "I was sick," she said. "When I was a baby. Mommy says people wouldn't understand." I felt sick. "Lily, I'm going to help you, okay?" "Okay." I heard footsteps on the stairs. Someone was coming. "I have to go," I whispered. "But I'll come back. I promise." I slipped out of the hidden room, closed the door, and ran. I made it halfway down the attic stairs when the lights turned on. Jennifer was standing at the bottom, staring up at me. "What are you doing?" My mind raced. I heard a noise. I thought maybe there was an animal or something. Jennifer's eyes were cold. "I told you the third floor was off limits." "I know. I'm sorry. I was just worried." "Did you see anything up there?" The way she asked it, the tone, like she already knew. "No, just old furniture." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she smiled. That same practiced, hollow smile. "Good. Come downstairs. We need to talk." I followed her to the kitchen, my heart pounding. She poured 2 glasses of wine and handed me one. "Sit." I sat. Jennifer took a long sip of wine, studying me. "Mia, you seem like a smart girl, observant." "Thank you. But you need to understand something. Every family has secrets. Things they don't share with outsiders. I'm not trying to. And those secrets stay secret for good reasons. Do you understand?" I nodded. "Good, because I'd hate for you to jeopardize a very good job over curiosity." She smiled again, but it wasn't friendly. It was a warning. "I understand," I said. "Wonderful. Go get some sleep." I went back to the guest house, locked the door, and sat on my bed, shaking. There was a child locked in the attic, a child named Lily, and her parents were hiding her from the world. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about Lily, about her thin frame, her scared eyes, her surgical scars. What was wrong with her? Why were they hiding her? I thought about calling the police. But what would I say? The family I work for has a secret daughter in the attic? They'd think I was insane. Or making it up for attention. And if Jennifer and David had money and connections, which they clearly did, they could make me look like the bad guy. No, I needed proof, evidence, and I needed to understand what was really going on. So I waited. Over the next few days, I started paying closer attention. I watched Jennifer, noticed how she'd disappear for 30 minutes every evening, always with a tray of food. She was feeding Lily. I watched David, noticed how he'd take phone calls in his study, voice tense, words like treatment and specialist and we can't risk it. Treatment for what? I started searching the house when they weren't around, and in David's study, hidden in a drawer, I found medical records. Lily's medical records. She'd been born with a severe heart condition, multiple surgeries as an infant. Transplant at age 2. She was fragile, immunocompromised, at risk for infection, but that didn't explain why they were hiding her. Then I found the newspaper clippings from 5 years ago. Whitmore family welcomes third child. There was a photo, Jennifer, David, baby Lily in the hospital, and then, 3 months later, tragedy strikes Whitmore family. Infant daughter passes away from complications. Lily was supposed to be dead. The family had held a funeral, announced her death publicly, but she was alive, hidden in the attic. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. The next evening, after putting Chloe and Noah to bed, I found Jennifer in the kitchen. We need to talk. She looked up from her wine. About? Lily. Her face went pale. I don't know what you're... I found her in the attic, and I found the medical records. The newspaper clippings. I know everything. Jennifer set down her wine glass slowly. You need to leave. Now. No, not until you explain why you're keeping your daughter locked in an attic. You don't understand. Then make me understand. Jennifer's composure cracked. Her eyes filled with tears. She was supposed to die, she whispered. The doctors told us she wouldn't survive. Her heart was too weak. The transplant was a last resort, and even that, they said she had maybe months. A year if we were lucky. But she didn't die. No, she didn't. She got stronger. Against all odds, she survived. But by then, we'd already told everyone she was dead. We had a funeral. We've moved on. Why didn't you just tell people the truth? Because we couldn't, Jennifer's voice broke. Do you know what it's like to grieve your child publicly? To have everyone's pity, everyone's sympathy, and then to have her survive and have to explain that we were wrong? That we gave up on her? So you just hid her instead? We were protecting her. She's fragile, Mia. One serious infection could kill her. We couldn't let her go to school, be around other children. It was safer to keep her here. Safer? You locked her in an attic. We gave her everything she needs. She needs a life. She needs sunshine and friends and a chance to be a kid. Jennifer looked away, crying. I know it's wrong, but I don't know how to fix it. How do we explain this? How do we bring her back from the dead? I sat with Jennifer for hours that night, and slowly a plan formed. You tell the truth, I said. Not all of it. But enough. What do you mean? You say there was a mix-up, that Lily's death was misdiagnosed, that she was in a coma and you thought she'd passed, but she recovered. Medical miracle. It's rare, but it happens. Jennifer stared at me. You think people would believe that? They'll want to believe it. A child coming back from the dead? That's a miracle story. The press will eat it up. And Lily? You get her out of that attic. You get her real medical care. You let her be part of this family. For real. Jennifer wiped her eyes. David will never agree. Then convince him, because if you don't, I'm calling CPS, and you'll lose all 3 of your children. It took 2 weeks, but eventually David agreed. They brought in doctors, real doctors, who confirmed that Lily was stable enough to live a relatively normal life with proper precautions. They hired a PR firm to craft the story. Medical miracle, Whitmore daughter returns from the dead. And then, slowly, they reintroduced Lily to the world. First to Chloe and Noah, who were shocked but accepting. Then to Chloe's family. Then to the public. The press loved it, just like I'd predicted. Miracle child survives against all odds. Family reunited after daughter's impossible recovery. Nobody questioned it too hard. Nobody wanted to ruin the fairy tale. And Lily? Lily finally got to leave the attic. My job ended at the end of summer, just like planned. But I stayed in touch with the family. Lily started homeschooling, started therapy, started living. She still had health issues, still needed careful monitoring. But she wasn't locked in an attic anymore. She had a life, and that was everything. People ask me if I think Jennifer and David are monsters, and honestly, I don't know. They made a terrible choice, a choice that hurt their daughter, but they made it out of fear, out of grief, out of desperation to protect her. Does that excuse it? No, but it explains it. And sometimes understanding is the first step toward forgiveness. If you ever find yourself in a situation where something feels wrong, where you know a child is being hurt or neglected, don't ignore it. Don't convince yourself it's not your business. Speak up, ask questions, get help, because sometimes you're the only person who can save them, and that's worth risking everything. This is Laura Stories. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. Comment below where you're watching from. Have you ever discovered something you weren't supposed to see? Let me know. You are braver than you think. And sometimes bravery means speaking up when everyone else stays silent. I'll see you in the next video.